What's up? What's up? What up? What up? This Astro King in the fucking building. Yeah, man. Wanted to make this long overdue video. This long overdue video. This a video here, I'm gonna call Corey Goode red flagged. And to be honest, I was gonna make this video about 2 years ago. And I said, hold up. I'm just gonna put that on the background and I'm not gonna make the video. I'm just gonna let everything play out. I didn't want to throw nobody under the bus. You know what I mean? So I just pumped my brakes on that. Decided not to make this video 2 years ago, maybe even longer than that. Excuse me while I take a sip. I don't normally drink like that, but pumping my brakes, laying off the weed, man. I gotta pump my brakes on that weed for a little bit. So I'm gonna take a sip of this. Yeah, man. Corey Goode, you got that red flag, bro. You got that red flag, bro. That Apple Pencil right here, like my magic wand, by the way. Abracadabra B. Abracadabra B. Yeah, I've been paying attention, to this SSP. And, back when it first came out, I'll sit back. I didn't judge anything. I took all the information in clearly, freely, because I want to believe, you know what I mean? Because I already know, you know what I mean? But I wanted to believe, so I didn't. I took an unbiased approach and sit back and I watched everything play out. So, I just kind of let it play out, listen to the story, reserve judgment for a long time, and just watch. You know what I mean? Because if you let people talk for long enough, it's easy to see who's full of shit and who's not. You know what I mean? So I just sit back and listen. I just be listening. I be listening to y'all. I'm also a psychic intuitive, and one thing's for sure, you're not going to lie to me. So I just sit back and I watched. Okay. So, I'm taking in the information for 2 years, roughly, just bringing it all in, bringing it all in, bringing it all in, soaking it all in. Okay, and then eventually something wasn't stirring the Kool-Aid. Something wasn't stirring the Kool-Aid. You know what I mean? So I started noticing weird shit, like, for instance, in one of these, I think it was actually one of his videos on YouTube at a press, not a press conference, but at, one of the speaking events, where he's basically saying how he was with this crew and this craft or whatnot, and something started going haywire. So, they essentially used a piece of bubble gum to kind of hold something in place. I'm paraphrasing that, it wasn't the exact words, but it was something along those lines. And I said, well, hold up, red flag, because that's a story straight out of NASA shuttle history. You know what I mean? Where they were talking about they had to take a piece of gum and literally hold an instrument together on this space shuttle. So, that's my first red flag. I'm like, okay. And so, what was the other one? There were a couple others actually. But, the thing that gets me about this is the show was on for about 3 or 4 years. So really about 3 years now, and it's the 12th season. I'm like, how the hell you get to the 12th season when you only been on for 3 years, bro? Anyway, yeah, they basically took a story from the NASA space shuttle history, ran with that, and that's not the only thing. There were others, but for instance, for me, he started coming with all these stories and all these characters, and they're talking about, well, Rodriguez did this, Rodriguez did that, Rodriguez did this, and I'm like, who the fuck is Rodriguez? Where the fuck is Rodriguez at, man? So you're coming up with a story this whole fucking time, okay, about all of these characters, right? And I'm just like, well, who the fuck is Rodriguez? So anyway, I went from watching this alleged testimony. I went from watching that, to trying to discover some truths that I might not be getting. So I went from watching to looking for truths. Then I went to watching and looking for comedy. You know what I mean? I would literally smoke a blunt and roll on the floor and start laughing at some of this shit. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like he would come up off with all these weird ass claims, and David Wilcock would just sit there and be like, right, and continue to ask him questions. He'd come up with some weird ass shit, and Wilcock would be like, right, and keep on going with the story. And I'm like, how the hell is he soaking this shit in? So, yeah, man, to me, so I really laughed when I seen it started to become about comic disclosure because for me it was comedy the whole fucking time, basically, So, and now another thing that contradicted itself. One of the episodes, you know, David asked him about, well, how would you know about this fake? You know, how would you be able to tell if it's a fake story or if somebody's not being truthful? And then Corey Goode even said himself, they would be trying to sell you this and they would be trying to sell you that and they would be trying to sell you this. And he turns around and he's trying to sell everybody this comic disclosure graphic novel. And I'm like, well, you kind of just snitched on yourself for one thing. So, I mean, it just seemed like it could be a money grab, you know, just trying to get fame and a money grab. Because I could tell you for one thing for sure, I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. And so at first I was like, well, maybe he doesn't know. Maybe he's had his mind messed with this, that, and the other. But now I'm fully realized that this dude is completely full of shit. Completely full of shit. So anything, anything coming from that, that story is, you might as well just disregard that. So, when I seen Corey Goode, on Ancient Aliens, I started rolling my eyes. I was like, man, people's buying this shit up, man. So yeah, this was a video that was long overdue, and I'm finally putting it out there. Everybody's still on the bandwagon. Me myself, I follow no man. I only follow the truth. So whenever the truth ain't there, you're not going to see me there. That's how I am. And for me, I'm not just using. I'm using a kind of a, what do you want to call it? Almost like a super conscious approach where I'm using logic, reason, I'm using intuitive, I'm using ESP, I'm using psychic ability. I'm, I'm molding all of these things together. And that always leads me back to the truth. So I just want to compare this now. Fade to Black, Jimmy Church. He's been, Corey Goode's been on there a few times and, been hearing him out. But Jimmy Church is always like, we will never know, right? No one will ever know. And I'm just like, there's lots of people that know. You ain't got to always be right in there. Yeah, you got to be right there to know every specific detail, but you don't got to be right there to know whether or not truth or untruth is being passed, because you can know. Lots of people have the ability to know. I call that claircognizance. So clear knowing. Lots of people can have that ability. You got to trust in yourself. Okay, so Corey Goode's coming through with no evidence whatsoever. And lots of people are eating this shit up. So I wanted to say, let's look at Corey Goode versus Billy Meier. Okay? Corey Goode versus Billy Meier. One hand, we've got no evidence. On the other hand, we've got a whole mountain of evidence, you know. And the thing about me, Jimmy Church is always disregarded completely, saying Billy Meier has been debunked. No, he has not. He has not been debunked. That's the thing that gets me every time they bring that up. Okay, okay, so you're going to cite one image that was supposedly proven to be faked, okay? But you're not going to cite all the other images that were proven to be real. So, I mean, why would there be fake images mixed in with real images? Would somebody be trying to discredit possibly? Is that a possibility? All I know is you have fake images mixed in with real images. That's been proven, fake and real. And there's a thing called law of attraction where you can basically attract UFOs to manifest. And so maybe he did fake an image, but he wanted the experience so hard that he attracted real UFOs. And there's a whole lot of weird situations, circumstances around the Billy Meier thing, but everybody should look at that a lot more closely because he made a bunch of prophecies that are basically seeming to play out right in front of our eyes, so I don't know who, wants to discredit all of that completely out of the box. I think you got to take a more holistic look at that instead of just dismissing it all right out of hand because there's a lot of weird stuff with that case. And it's a possibility that, he was being set up just by people with exotic technology pretending like they were aliens. So we all know that UFOs, Nazis had this UFO technology way back in the day, and they could have very easily fooled Billy Meier with that stuff. Okay, so what else do we got? I just wanted to talk briefly about David Wilcock, and I wanted to say that I think it's more likely a possibility that David Wilcock is the reincarnation of Edgar Casey than it is Corey Goode has ever been off this planet. You ain't never been off this planet, bruh. You need to stop it. Stop it, bruh. Okay, so now if David Wilcock is the reincarnation of Edgar Casey, how can he not see through someone who is clearly lying? I don't understand it, so maybe he reincarnated without his psychic ability. I don't know. Maybe, karma cut right off that psychic ability and you just reincarnated Edgar Casey without shit. Okay. And then briefly, Jordan Sather, is my guy, man. On one hand, you're doing a lot of good work. You're putting yourself out there, man. You need to protect yourself because people will come at you and they'll do you in, man. They will do you in. So I just want to say, no false idols, ladies and gentlemen. No false idols. You dig? So watch your back, Sather. Watch your back. Grasshopper. You know what I'm saying? All right. And with that, I'm not going to keep this video rolling forever. Abracadabra, B.